Hello, good people. Welcome to our show. Hello, bad people. Welcome to our show. Hello, my friends. Welcome. Today we are going to discuss more about SEO, especially we are going to touch about the power of data in SEO. I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Andreas Voniatis. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me, Anatoly.
Yeah, big pleasure. I need to get new skills, new knowledge. I'm student on this life, so I found the more I learn, the more I understand that I learn a lot more. Like I remember Socrates said about that. I know that I know nothing, and then I found in marketing, digital marketing, in SEO, many topics you can learn. You can become an expert, but you can't stop learning because many things are coming fast. You need to update to go ahead, and the main goal to be better than others. You can't learn everything. It's impossible to know everything. And really, if you know a lot, you understand that you need to learn a lot more. Now, Andreas, before we start, just tell more about your self experience, background, and anything that can help our listeners to learn more about you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anatoly. I started SEO around 2003, and I retrained in data science around 10 years ago, probably more like 12 years ago now. And that gave me a new, different way of understanding SEO, especially when you learn a computing language like Python. You have a lot more sympathy for how search engines have to go about doing their job, which is to discover content, evaluate it, and then rank it in response to a search query. And that's taken me to this journey. In the last 3, 4 years, I started writing a book, which was down to COVID. I decided I had all this extra time. So I thought, well, I've got all this extra time. I've got this code that helps automate and make better sense of data for SEO. So I decided to write a book, which got published by Springer on data-driven SEO, and here I am today.
Nice, awesome. I love reading books. I wanna confess, I didn't read any book about SEO. I read a lot of books about marketing, but I don't know why. I ignored many books in SEO because many other great books. I love learning about SEO. I read a lot of blog posts, listen to audio podcasts, but I don't know why. But I didn't read any book. So, but I love this format. Probably your book will be first, and but I need a strong reason. Can you give me the strong reason? What kind of benefits can I get, my audience can get by reading your book? What kind of value we can get? Because without value, people don't want to waste their time. So tell about your book benefits, what we can get by reading your book.
Sure. Well, first of all, you can save a lot of time. Like, for example, people can often spend a few days trying to cluster keywords by search intent. And by using the code in my book, you could do that in an hour or less.
Mhm.
So that can save you a lot of time. And that's just one of the things. It can help you identify really high value keywords, again, using statistical modeling. Um, you can automate the extraction of those keywords, and using statistical modeling, you can identify that. Again, you can do that in a couple of hours instead of a day or 2 days. So really, this book is a time saver, but it's not just the time it saves. It's also the I don't know if accuracy or precision is the quality of the work is much higher as well, because obviously the analysis is statistical and is therefore more likely to be of higher value, as opposed to using inconsistent rules. Or, I would argue that best practice SEO is virtually dead, and it's all about data-driven SEO, because at the end of the day, search engines are data-driven. So why wouldn't your SEO be data-driven?
Yeah, I agree with you about best practices. I think it's not like that, but you don't need to follow all best practices. It depends on your strong side. For example, if someone is good with writing, I mean, like case studies. For example, I know some specialists who can write great case studies, and why they need to write something else, So, like, it's better to pay attention to your strong side and your passion. But if someone is good with creating tools and best practices can tell you need to write blog posts, just create tools. You can get a lot of results with that. So for me, best practices, I love reading best practices. I learn them, but I usually brainstorm. Can I do it or not? It's my passion or not? Uh,
Mm,
and I remember when I started my LinkedIn journey, I decided to promote my LinkedIn accounts. I read a lot of best practices and tried to replicate all of them. And then I got it. It's not for me. Most of
mm,
them are not related to my strong sides. I love live streaming like we can do right now, to chat with great experts. I like writing long posts, but in most best practices where you need to write short posts. So I think it depends, and ignore it if it's not related to your strong side. Stand out from the rest. It's like marketing. Marketing, you need to be yourself. And Andreas, you mentioned about keywords. Can you tell how to find the right keywords? Because I see when webmasters still chase high volume keywords or create content with topics that have thousand other pages, with high quality content. It's hard to overcome
mm.
that. So, any tips about finding the right keywords?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's two situations, right? So if you're starting out and you're a startup and you don't have a lot of data, then getting keywords from Google Search Console is not going to be of value to you. But what you can do is you can take position data from SEMrush or Ahrefs on your competitors. And as detailed in my book, if you were to look for common keywords that get traffic, say from any 2 or 3 or more competitors selected at random, you can write Python code to automate that for you and work this out. And then you'll have a common deduplicated list of common keywords that your competitors are getting traffic from. So that's one way of doing it if you're a startup. Now, if you're a big brand, then Google Search Console is a really good source of keywords. But the thing is, you don't want to make the mistake of looking for keywords that you already get traffic and impressions for. What you're looking for are keywords that actually get a lot of impressions for their ranking position. For example, you might find a keyword that you're ranking, say, 29 for, is getting a lot of impressions versus other keywords ranking 29 or page 3 of Google, for example. So using statistical modeling, and this is all detailed in my book, you can model the amount of impressions to see what is normal for that for say page 3 of Google, and any keywords that have 1 or 2 standard deviations above the average for keywords that are ranked on page 3, then that keyword is going to be a grower for your business.
Nice, nice. Andreas, you have background in data science. I think it's the most important skills today, at any niche. If you have no this background, it's better to learn and play with AI. And in SEO, I use a lot AI tools. I used before ChatGPT. Today, I can use a lot more because it's a great tool. And once I spoke with Jeff Coyle, co-founder of Market Muse, and he told me in the future we will have 3 companies. The first company will develop AI, the second company implement, and the third company will be obsolete. Who can leave the trade, to their competitors? So can you tell how to use AI today? Because Google changed the policy, and it's not like against AI, but the last update is against AI. So I don't know what kind of update it is. So we will see. But anyway, Google doesn't like it. So tell how to use AI in the smart way to get results.
I think the smart way to use AI is to use it as an ideation, as part of the ideation process. So, rather than it's a shortcut. If you think about what ChatGPT and other LLMs have done, is that they've created the shortcut from typing in something in the search engine and getting 10 blue links to actually distilling all of that into a paragraph. So, you can do things like use prompts in ChatGPT to sort of say, well, ask, what should an article on this subject cover, and then you can ask ChatGPT to sort of write some content for each of those sections within an article. But obviously, you need a human element to make sure that whatever ChatGPT has produced is factually correct and accurate, and obviously fits the tone of voice of your brand or your startup. So that's how I would go. That's one of the ways I would go about using ChatGPT. I've seen a case where a rubbish removal firm were 100% relying on ChatGPT to write all of their articles, and they ended up having to submit a re-inclusion request into Google because they didn't have that human editor process. So beware. Google is cracking down on this, but there are smart ways, just like one of the ways that I've outlined, of using ChatGPT to create content.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better to edit, to check manually. I usually do it, but I never generate content with AI without feeding AI with the right data. So, for example, when I collect data, I usually collect data myself. And for example, I do it for press releases. We use the strategy like link building strategy, and we got mentioned on CNN, Business Insider, many other great resources. And it's interesting. We always edit on ChatGPT. My prompt is simple. Please edit my text because I'm a terrible writer. ChatGPT can write much better than me, but ChatGPT can't collect data like I can. I can spend time to get this data to write a bad copy, very bad copy, but ChatGPT can provide a good job. My prompt like, please write edit this press release in the format like Forbes, CNN can use. So, and this tool can do it. This tool can edit in the great way, but this tool doesn't find data. I do it. I spend time to collect this data, to feed with the right data, and we get great results. I love editing on ChatGPT. I don't know what kind of future will be. Of course, it's good for finding ideas. Why not? Yeah, I collect ideas, but I usually and for me personally, I don't know how to even edit any results on ChatGPT without having experience in writing, because if you can't write, you can't understand what kind of content you got. Now, so if you don't spend time to make your hands dirty, to write a lot, to have experience with that, it's hard to write the right prompts. It's hard to check and analyze data. We still need people, who can handle the process.
100%. I always say, and this has been going on since the age of search, since search engines have come on. It's not so much the answers that are important, but the questions you ask. And I think with ChatGPT, this has really underlined that point, or the value of asking the right questions even more.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I don't use best practices because it depends on the queries in the getting results. I can start with my prompts. By the way, I usually write about my um, about data of my readers. For example, demographic data, interests, hobbies. Yeah, I can write like, please edit this text for readers in the US, like 30, 40 years, most female. So it depends. I can write, I can ask
Mm.
about exact buying or reader persona. Then, if I get results, I usually play a lot more. Oh, no, 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 please rewrite it, find something else, change it. Yeah, I can spend like 30 minutes just to use this prompts. But if I write myself, it will take like a few days.
Yeah. No, 100%. It makes total sense to use LLMs like ChatGPT. It's a
Yeah.
missed opportunity if you're not. It's now it's not so much the tool now. It's how you can be smart with the tool and use it
Mhm.
to your advantage.
Yeah, nice. Andreas, I opened your LinkedIn profile because I love
Okay,
opening LinkedIn profiles.
great.
And yeah, what I can see in your bio, let me read it. We help startups grow sustainability and exponentially using SEO science. Can you tell more about SEO science? What kind of SEO science you mean? And how to get 200% SEO ROI guaranteed? So, more insights about that.
Yeah, sure. So SEO science is really the opposite of um, SEO best practice.
Mhm.
SEO best practice is quite anecdotal. Of course, not everything can be, the data isn't available for everything to be data science SEO. So sometimes you do have to revert to best practice. That's why I always say best practice SEO is virtually dead. So by the reason we're able to put ourselves in a position legally and offer 200% ROI on all of our SEO campaigns is because we take the data. So every first of all, every business or startup is in a different position relative to their competitors. And the other thing is that every industry or market is different. So by taking a data-driven approach, we're giving very, very contextualized and critical path recommendations to all of the businesses that we work with. And that means that we get results sooner rather than later.
Mhm. And can you tell your methods how to collect data? Because you mentioned about SEMrush, Ahrefs, and for me it's a big trap when webmasters use only these tools without spending more time, to collect the right data. So tell your methods how to do it right, because I love more methods before digital when marketers spend time with customers, to learn about them, to collect data in different resources. But
Mm.
today many tools can provide the average data that are not related to your specific cases. Any tips about collecting data?
Well, I think the first thing is with SEO, you need scale, so you need a lot of data, especially if you want to do statistical modeling, which requires a decent sample size. So I think that's the first thing. Now, I agree that if you just solely rely on one tool, such as SEMrush or Ahrefs, it's a bit of a trap, as you say, because that is just numbers or data, right? But you need to apply some mathematical processes to, like ChatGPT, you need to ask the right questions of the data. You need to set a hypothesis, and you need to test a hypothesis with statistical modeling, and that's what my book covers. So it, it helps you solve a lot of different SEO problems by by uh, by applying different scientific or data science tests to that data, so that you can generate the recommendations that are actually going to make a difference to your website's visibility.
Yeah, nice, nice. Andreas, it's interesting in marketing. It's important to stand out from the rest. In SEO, I often see when content creators do the same because of user intent. For example, they check out the top 10 results, can see, okay, my competitors do like this, I can replicate, just rewrite to add more data, but it's the same content. Can you tell how to be creative, how to stand out from the rest in SEO?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, it's a common thing that a lot of SEOs, they look at the top 10 and they look for common elements. I would look at the top 10 for sure. I would look at the common elements, but I would also look at the things that perhaps nobody is consistently covering, i.e. the sections that maybe one or two are covering, but the rest are not covering, so, because ultimately you want the ultimate content. But the other thing is, I would also look at the losers, because by looking at the losers, you can validate whether the top 10 are doing things that the losers aren't doing. And in my book on competitor analysis, I show how a machine learning model can be used to validate that whatever the actual parts that the top 10 are doing in their SEO and their content, that the rest of the websites are not doing. And it's through that machine learning you get consistent guidelines as to what's working and what's not working. So I'm not sure how much more creative that will help you become, but at least you'll have a much more repeatable formula for ranking top for your target keywords.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, love it, love it. For example, I think I remember when one of my clients asked me what I can do. I gave advice. You need to start a podcast, and he replied to me, "Why? My competitors don't do it. It's a big opportunity. If your competitors ignore something, it's a big chance to overcome them, to get results." And I think, you share a great tip about that. You need to do something differently, and because when website owners do the same, they try to overcome a strong side of their competitors. For example, if someone is ranking in the top 10 results because these companies deserve these ranking positions, they spend time with content creation, with link building, many other brand recognition. They deserve, yeah, and it's hard to overcome them. But I usually search for outdated content, lack of quality content, and if I see the opportunity we can create something much better, then yeah, we add to our content plan. If we can't, I ignore it. If I can create another content like this, why Google needs to rank me? Yeah. I usually spend more time with creating content plan. Can you tell your tips how to create a content plan? I mean, like how to find the right strategy? Because one more thing, what I can see when webmasters add like 1,000 keywords, 100,000 keywords, to content plan, but having 1-2 copywriters on their team, it's hard, to create a lot of content at scale. So any tips about that?
I think there's a couple of tips. I won't repeat myself on the tip I gave earlier about using SEMrush data and finding what the common keywords were to help the content plan. So that's definitely one method. But the other method you could use is you could statistically model SEMrush data on any one of your competitors. And what you can do is you can model the amount of traffic or impressions they're getting. And then you can look for those that are getting above the average, like maybe one standard deviation above the average search volume or traffic, and then that will give you some clues as to how you can get some content. But there's some lo-fi methods as well, like simply taking surveys of your target audiences, finding out what they care about. I know it's not very data science, but usually your target audience will give you the benefit of their time if you can offer something of value in return. For example, if you're looking to, if you want to try and understand your audience more, find out what they want or what they really want, and see if you can offer that in return for 20 minutes of their time, going through a survey, trying to understand, what gets them out of bed in the morning, what do they think of at night, what are their key challenges and things like that. And that's plenty of content, I think, plenty of data, especially when you do 100 of those interviews. You can really understand, what kind of content you should be producing.
Nice. I think if you can understand or know what your audience can think before the night, you can make a great job, to learn about your audience. Yeah. And, you mentioned a lot about data. You wrote a book about data. On your LinkedIn profile, I can see data. So, but can you tell how to collect enough data? It's interesting. What I spoke with a few data experts, and they told me collecting more data can confuse more than help. And for example, let me share one short story about Jeff Bezos. Once he got a team, research team, and this research team asked to give more time to learn about new product. And he denied. He told, no, nobody knows. We need to test, to experiment. We have enough data. And this product called Alexa. Today, almost all homes in the US have this product, Alexa. And it's interesting, Jeff Bezos had intuition to understand it's enough to learn about customers. Can you tell how to find this balance between enough or more data or less data? I have no idea about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a tough question, actually. And I have come across this in situations where more data is not necessarily the answer. It's more about how can you make that data higher quality. Like, for example, although I have yet to see it in any kind of SEO competitor tool, I haven't seen a metric where it looks at the overlap between the title tag and the target keyword, and finding out what the percentage matches between the two. So, even though it's not a metric that's offered by SEO tools, that's just one example of how you can make that same data higher quality by being creative with the questions you ask, and setting yourself hypotheses on, okay, well, what are the ranking factors, or what do you think the ranking factors are? What new data columns can we create in order to test that hypothesis?
You mentioned about headlines, specifically about meta tag title, and I still use old school to add my main keyword to the titles, because users, when they are looking for keywords, they can open the top 10 results, and if they see the same keyword, the chance of click increased a lot. But Google doesn't recommend it, just right for human being. What do you think about old school? Is it a good idea to
I
do
like
this?
old school.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that in my book, I've shown how you can use code to use the Google Search Console API and find additional keywords that can help you use that old school technique and help you get more traffic and higher rankings.
Yeah. Some techniques I can use. For example, I can write the main keyword in the first 100 words. It's my habit. It's not like that can help a lot, but according to some data, bounce rate is high. Plus 50% of people bounce fast, and when they open your page, you need to give a strong reason that your page is relevant to their search. So that's why I usually use keywords. It's not like written for Google. It's written for human being, but I still add it.
Yeah, just let them know that they're in the right place. I think there's nothing wrong with that. When I used to, a very long time ago, run Google ad campaigns when it was called AdWords, the quality score, and I'm sure that's still the same case, relied on having the actual keyword on above the fold, so that it was apparent to users that when they search for something, they land on the keyword, they see the ad which has the keyword, and then they land on the page and it has the keyword, so that they know that they're not wasting their time.
Yeah, nice. Andreas, I wanna ask about mistakes, especially in SEO mistakes. I do a lot of them. I did a lot mistakes. I keep doing them because I think it's hard to understand how to do it right from the first attempt. For example, I remember when I decided uh, to use press releases like a link building technique, and I wrote a bunch of press releases. I pitched all of them, got 0 mentions, 0 links, spent a lot of time, but I acquired experience how it works. I found the way. It's not like to write and pitch. It's more to be creative and pitch the right people, if you want to get results. And today I have the process. I outsource specialists who can write great press releases, and I have specialists who can pitch them. Even I'm not a big expert, but when you do such mistakes, you can learn how it works. You can understand the process. And I usually recommend to all my clients to understand the basic of SEO. If they don't, I don't know how to get results. We get results with someone who understands why we need to create high quality content, why it's important to get more traffic value than just a lot of traffic, without covering the buying persona or sales funnel. Can you list mistakes that companies can avoid from your experience? You see people do these mistakes, but they can avoid just to know about these mistakes.
Yeah, I think the first mistake they can avoid is buying links. I think that's the first one. I think the second one is not following best practice SEO blindly. Like, for example, best practice SEO dictates that your content should be readily understood by a 10-year-old. What I found, for example, is that in the wedding industry, that might be true. But if you're in the industry of selling highly technical products like industrial lubricants or blockchain or legal services, then that's not going to work for SEO in that sector. And also, following outdated SEO practices, like, for example, or relying. A really good example last week, I spoke to a company that were relying on Google Search Console to put their site in the best technical SEO health, and it made their site worse because they didn't fully understand SEO. I think if we're talking to SEO consultants, I think if you're going to do a technical audit, you should overlay your technical crawl data with analytics and backlink data and things like that, so you get a full contextual picture. So that's one of the mistakes I would say from a practitioner perspective.
Nice. Yeah, you mentioned about link building. Don't buy backlinks, and it's interesting. I remember when I started my digital journey, I used one simple technique. I bought more backlinks that my competitors had, and Google ranked well. That was like
I used to.
yeah, in 2010.
But I wouldn't do it now.
Oh, after the first penguin in 2012, and since then I changed my strategy many times. I started to learn about yeah, I started to learn about white hat SEO because Google pushed me forward to learn about white techniques, and I think today it's not the time to cheat the system. It's not the best time to game the system. This time is gone. Forget about that. You don't need 1,000 backlinks. You need even a few backlinks, much better, but quality backlinks relevant with white hat SEO. And use different techniques. And it's interesting. It's not only my opinion. I checked data, experts' opinions. that Google are decreasing the impact of backlinks. It's like TikTok. On TikTok, it's only one social media when you don't need to promote your content. Just film great videos, film, spend time. If you enjoy the process, you can get results, be consistent with that. And I spoke with some TikTok experts. They don't spend time to promote any videos. It's like on LinkedIn, you need, on Facebook, you need, but on TikTok, just film. And it's the same with Google. I think Google understands much better today about high quality content. Before that, link building links can help to give this recognition, and today topical authority plays a lot more role. It's not my opinion, it's expert opinion. Andreas, I want to ask about your experience. I love to ask this question because I have students in my network who are looking for ways how to learn about SEO. As I mentioned before, I have clients who don't understand SEO. I usually tell them, take my course, learn from Lily Ray, Jeff Coyle, Mike Phillips, go to YouTube, go to Google, find experts, social media groups, listen to audio podcasts, find your living format, but get the basic. Learn it. If you learn, then we can get great results. It's the same with anything that I do. I spend some time by failing with new methods to learn the basic, and then I understand, do I need to go ahead or not? Probably digital marketing is huge. You can find other channels. If SEO, if you don't like SEO, you can get great results on YouTube, TikTok, doesn't matter. Just I want to ask about your experience. Let's imagine it's your first day in SEO. You didn't write any book. You didn't spend any time to create content. You just use Google before a few times, not a lot. So what will you do today if you started from scratch?
The first thing I would do is create your own website. I cannot believe how many people who work in SEO are advising businesses or brands on how to improve their SEO and have never tried their advice firsthand on their own website. Now, let me ask you a question, Anatoly. Would you take advice from a driving instructor who hasn't got their driving license?
It depends.
Okay, let me ask you a second question. Would you take advice from a driving instructor who's never driven a car before?
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot in a lot of marketing agencies. You've got SEO account. I don't want to, just at any level, even at director level, they've never touched the website or never actually tried to sort of rank their own website and make changes. I think even if it means trying to rank for uncompetitive terms or made up keywords, just to try and understand how SEO works firsthand and make some changes and experiment and test and learn, that is the way you truly will get a feel for how SEO really works. Obviously, you need to take courses. I mean, there weren't any courses when I started, but like you say, read all the sort of leading authorities, read books, things like that. But most of all, test what you read. That's the best way.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I couldn't agree more, because you can learn a lot, but if you do nothing, you get nothing. And I think like Leo Messi, he prefers to hit a ball 1,000 times a day than to read a few books how to play soccer. And it concerns anything you need to make your hands dirty. It's better to learn less. Yeah, it's weird, but it's true. It's better to learn less, because you can lose time to experiment, to test, and the best skills you can get from testing when you practice what you've learned. And the best experts, of course, they read books, of course, they learn, but they spend more time with practice. by doing something. Yeah, I love it. I couldn't agree more. And I think it concerns any niche. You need to test, experiment a lot more. And I usually use the Pareto principle, 20 and
Oh,
80.
100%, 100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I listen to audio podcasts, I read books, but in most cases I do my stuff. And Andres, my final question about the future. I want to ask you, take your crystal ball and let us know what kind of future will be, because many things are coming. Like, I don't know, Apple is going to launch augmented reality, this headset. I don't know how it looks, but I think it's the same. Like if you take your iPhone to watch the screen, just to have on your on your head. Probably virtual reality will come. I don't know. We have AI today, so predict what kind of future will be.
I think we're going to see a lot of augmented reality come to the fore. If you combine that, I think yes, there's a lot of excitement, and quite justifiably excitement around LLMs like ChatGPT. But you combine ChatGPT with augmented reality and automation, you're going to see some really smart businesses emerge that will challenge the likes of Amazon and Google. So I think, even as a startup or any business, they should be they should be thinking about automation. When you think about how LLMs can mimic the behavior of a human, and then you've got augmented reality that could take that output and present it. What if in the future that you and I are actually virtual personas, and we're actually both having a drink by at a beach bar somewhere, and this podcast is actually being run by holograms. This is where the future is heading. In fact, we might get to a point where we could create duplicate versions of ourselves, but so we could be in many places at the same time, but this time we get to choose where we actually want to be in real time.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Love it, Andreas. It's a big pleasure to get in my show, to learn from you.
Otherwise,
I recommend to anyone to follow you. By the way, tell how to follow you, how to find you, how to reach out to you, how to read all your books.
Yeah, please. I mean, my book is on Amazon. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter and or X as it's now called. You can reach me on my website rts.io. And taking your advice, Anatoly, I am also launching a podcast, and Anatoly, I would be honored if you would be my guest too.
Nice.
And that's how you can find me. And thank you very much for having me. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, a big pleasure. Valuable and fun. Guys, I recommend to anyone to follow Andreas on social media. You can find all links in the description below. Please read books, because you can see you can get a lot of valuable insights. I put all books to my list, So especially SEO driven, data driven. Yeah, how one more time, how this book is called?
Data-driven SEO.
Data-driven SEO. Sorry for that, but yeah, I put to my list because I have a huge list of books that I need to read. I have no
So
time
do I.
to read all of them, but I'm going to do it because I know it's important to get more skills. Okay, guys, love you. See you.